Hey Mandy,
Hi, Harley. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, all is good here in Cambridge.
Great.
Today we're going to have a little quick little video based on the fact that we are very, very close to having a full moon in Pisces.
Right.
In fact, by the time this video comes out, we may have already hit it. But it's at 6:22 a.m. Cambridge time tomorrow morning, 2nd of September 2020.
Right.
And yeah, so the two notable things are, first of all, it's a full moon,
Yeah.
and secondly, that it's in Pisces.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we're going to be doing some tarot readings based on this energy and kind of aimed at anyone who kind of wants to do a little bit of moon work. I think it's fair to say that Pisces, it's a water sign. It's a very, very emotional sign. And I do feel this would be a really good time if anyone's kind of feeling, I don't know, particularly emotional in one way or another, that it would be a good idea to work with this full moon. With it being a full moon, it's kind of it's going to be at its brightest, so it will throw a light on whatever the situation is will be kind of very apparent,
Hmm.
you know, with it being a full moon. And also the full moon is when it's at its fullest. So again, it's a good time to let go of things if you just feel that something has now kind of reached it's reached its saturation point and it is kind of now time to kind of let go and move on. So it's a great time for that. I mean, what else would you say that is particularly characteristic for the fact it's in Pisces?
Well, I mean, as is the case with every full moon, right? You get an opposition between the moon and the sun, and in this case, it's an opposition between Pisces energy and Virgo energy, right? Because that's the axis
Yes.
that we're dealing with. We have Sun in Virgo and we have the moon in Pisces. And as you said, Pisces is very emotional, but I would add to that that it's kind of the emotional depth and complexity of the Pisces archetype also has this layer of imagination, right? And it's a kind
Yeah.
of imagination that um, frequently makes a Pisces type of person or personality um, kind of move through the world in a very flexible way and perceive
Yes.
reality in a very kind of flexible and sometimes multidimensional kind of way, right? So, I mean,
Yes.
one of the kind of, let's say, yeah, but one of the very popular characterizations of Pisces is that it has a difficulty kind of defining or setting a particular kind of boundary for its self-image, for its understanding of itself, right? Whereas on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Virgo, and Virgo's pretty much about solidifying kind of the sense of the self and the perception of reality by mastering all the details, the concrete details that are in the environment, right? Whether it could be relationships with people or the way that you organize your room, right? So it's that kind of polarity that we're
Right.
dealing with now. Um, so yeah, so basically the reading is going to be, as you said, I mean, we're going to cover like um, advice regarding what it would be good to move towards, like for the moon work at this time, right? For the full moon and Pisces moon work, what it would be good to move towards, what it would be good to move away from or to stop. And then we're going
Yes.
to deliver one message that is specific for anyone born with the sun in Virgo, and another message that is
Yeah.
specific for anyone born with the moon in Pisces, because either of these uh, placements would make the person um, particularly kind of sensitive to or you know, able to be impacted by what's going on in the sky. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great. Okay, so shall we just go for it with the tarot readings?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so I'll do the first two cards,
Okay.
which would be probably, we're looking at advice cards here, but yeah, it's kind of, if you're going to do some moon work, some meditation, you're going to kind of like have a little bit of time between you and this full moon in Pisces, focusing on you know, whatever it is that is kind of affecting you emotionally. So the first card is going to be a very kind of like attractive energy, and it's kind of like what you need to kind of like attract into your life to kind of like make the most of this full moon. And the second card is going to be what it is that you should let go of on this full moon, to get some kind of indication on that. And these basically, these two readings on these two cards are literally for everybody. It's for everybody to sort of like, you know, interpret it however works best for you in your particular life, your situation at the moment. Okay, and then I'm going to hand over to Holly to do the second two cards. But the first card is on this full moon in Pisces on the 2nd of September 2020. What is the best advice that I can give to people on what they should try to sort of encourage or attract, that is going to kind of, I don't know, just give them some benefit from the energy of this full moon in Pisces? And the second card is, what is the kind of the best advice on what to kind of let go of, and what just to kind of like recognize that it's kind of like reached its kind of like conclusion, there's no more to be gained from it, to let it go. Okay, what am I getting out of those? Okay. Right, here we go. Card number one, what to attract on this full moon in Pisces. Okay, so what I'm getting from this, I will give my definition and then I will test you to see if you've got which card it is, and I will then reveal the card. Okay, so what I am feeling is, I think you need to be very protective on well, first of all, you need to recognize what is important to you, what is of value to you. Maybe something that you've invested a lot of time into, a lot of energy into, that you've given a lot of yourself into. And I kind of like think it's time to show it some nurturing and some gratitude, and to look after it properly, and to kind of make a decision on this full moon that this thing is important to you. You don't want to kind of like lose this thing, and you are going to protect it for all it's worth. That is what I'm getting for yes, what to kind of use this full moon to draw towards you. What card do you think it is, Harleed? Go on, have a go. Have a guess.
Knight of Pentacles. I mean, it sounds like it would be either Knight of Pentacles or Queen of Cups.
Okay, no, it's not either of those. Although you were kind of close. It's actually more intense, I think, than either of those. In a sense, I got the Four of Pentacles.
Ah, yeah.
And I just felt that protection, that kind of, you know, if something's important to you and something is of value to you, recognize it, cherish it, and hold on to it. Yeah. Hold on to it. Don't mess it up.
And you know what I love about this card? What I really love about this card for a full moon reading is that what you attract, you know, what you're supposed to try to attract for a full moon working is not something entirely new, not something that you need to start from scratch.
Oh no.
Right? It's something that's kind of already been
Yes.
building up, and you'd like to kind of get it manifested in the best possible way, you know,
Yes.
as opposed to something that you would want to attract during the time of a new moon, right? And it's
That's
just
right.
beautiful that you have this guy holding, you know, all of his coins, right? And just, yeah,
And
affirming the
it's on
value.
his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on his mind as well, isn't it? And he's even standing on two of them. And I kind of like also feel here, because it is the full moon, it's recognizing and realizing what is important to you. And I also feel it's about taking responsibility and looking after these things yourself. It's not kind of passing it on to somebody else to do it for you. It's actually doing what you need to do very personally. It's very close to him, what you need to do in order to protect and look after the things that are of value and importance to you.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what do you, having said that, need to let go of on this full moon? Oh. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily telling me what to let go of, but it's telling me the message here is how to let go. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I just think there are certain situations. Oh, sorry. I've got a very, very appropriate card here, which will become apparent in a minute. But I think there are certain situations where, unless you, again, take responsibility, unless you do something and recognize that this situation isn't going to change, you are the one who is going to have to change it. You are the one that is going to have to kind of say, that's it. I am no longer going to be affected by this. We're done with this now. Mm-hmm. It's over. I do not kind of, there's no anger. There's no kind of resentment. It's just, I am now going my separate way from this situation. Thank you, full moon. You have absolutely shone a light on this. You've made it absolutely apparent to me that nothing is going to change unless I change it. So it's not what to let go of. It's recognizing that it is time to let go and to actually graciously walk away from it. I think I've given it away. What's the card?
That's sort of like, that sounds like either 8 of Cups or Death.
Putting you on the spot like this.
8 of Cups or Death?
You got it straight away. The 8 of Cups.
Okay.
8 of Cups. Yeah. 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 And that full moon is absolutely kind of screaming out on that one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
so it's
nice.
Not what,
really appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah, we've all got something or other that we kind of like should kind of say, that's enough now. I'm not going to kind of bang on about this anymore. I'm just on away from it now, onto my next chapter. I feel that person walking away is pretty, although they're in red, I'm not seeing that at the moment. I'm just seeing they're gone. They're out of there. It's kind of, they've walked away. And both of my cards did come up upright. We do read in reverse, Khalid and I, but they both came up in their full upright glory. So, and both of them, interestingly, did represent Virgo and Pisces, because I do see this as an earth card and I see this as a water card.
Yes, yeah, that's a really great point. Absolutely. And maybe I feel like maybe saying actually, because I mean, because the elements, both of the elements are there, and like the what you should bring in card is conservative, and then what you should let go of is very much kind of reflects that, you know, it is moving away. I feel like the energy in the sky is really okay. If there's something that is really difficult for you to leave behind, I think the energy in the sky is making it easier. No,
Yes.
it's making it smoother.
Yes.
You know, easier for you
And
to kind of bring to fruition or appreciate fully something that you already have or something that you've been working on, and also easier for you to let go of something that hasn't been serving you or just doesn't serve you any longer.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it is actually interesting of just seeing those two cards next to each other and considering the reason we're doing these readings, how the moon in the sky there is about the same size as the coins.
Yeah.
It kind, you know, yeah, there really is. They really are sort of almost like a reflection of each other. That opposition thing.
It's incredible. Like you got a full moon card for this
Yeah.
question, and I think the message is
What were
really
the chances in that?
yeah.
Of that, I should say. Not, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, over to you, Harley.
All right. So, over the screen so you can see me shuffling. All right, so I'm going to be pulling two cards. The first for some advice or message specific to people born with the sun in Virgo. Okay, and the point of asking for this message is that because this full moon is is a moon standing opposite a sun, a moon in Pisces standing in opposite a sun in Virgo, the energy we're dealing with is going to impact anyone born with the sun in Virgo in a specific way. Right? So that's the first card. And then the second card that I'm going to be pulling is going to be in response to the question, you know, how will the alignment in the sky affect anyone born with the moon in Pisces? Okay.
Okay.
So what should they, what should they, or I should say how they should expect the energy to affect them. And hopefully from these two cards, anyone born with the sun in Virgo or the moon in Pisces or both would get additional information, additional advice on how to craft their moon work when they decide to do that. Okay? Right.
Okay.
So I think that about covers it. Right, so for Sun and Virgo natives and for Moon and Pisces natives. Sun and Virgo, Moon and Pisces. Okay, so I'm feeling here that the message is don't try too hard to conquer adversities around you. Don't try too hard at this time. To stay at top, right? To stay at the top of situations, okay? If there is something you feel very eager, a situation that you feel very eager to kind of bring under control, you need to accept it at this time. The energies, the powers that be are not aligned enough in your favor to make it easy for you to do that, right? It's gonna take more time for the circumstances to be in your favor so that you can actually be the master of the situation. Okay, so I got the Seven of Wands.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's interesting that it's Wands, which is a suit of fire, and this is for Sun and Virgo people. Telling me,
Yes.
yeah, don't struggle to kind of stay at the top of the situations and stay in control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like all of these, let me put it upright so you can see. All of these these sticks, these wands, coming up from the ground against the movement of the guy on the top. Like they're coming across as like let's say challenges that are really irritating the guy on the top of this hill, because he wants to master them, but the reversal is sending a clear message.
Do you see that the Virgo perfectionist thing going on there?
Yes.
That he's just going to he needs to sort of stop trying to keep at it until it's perfect.
Yes. I'm sensing okay, maybe because it's a very fiery card and it's just like, it feels like it's coming from here. I feel like the challenges that this card is communicating to me, they relate to like the self-image, okay, and it's not necessarily like tangible details like you know, I want to have this much money in my bank by the end of 2 weeks or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
It's more like the challenges they're very emotional. It's coming across as emotional, right? It's like there's an issue of emotional mastery, right? And there's a need for emotional mastery because without it, the self-image, the more idealistic self-image, is just not going to be realized, right? So yeah, it's coming across as kind of more like emotional and challenging the sense of like control over the environment, because that control over the environment is also feeding into the sense of control of yourself. Like if I am controlling what's around me, my relationships, I am also controlling myself and controlling this image, or maintaining this image of myself that I like to have, right? So yeah, so I'm feeling the card is telling me don't be in a rush to get everything to spin everything around you, such that you feel like you are the master and you're holding the reins, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm getting for Sun and Virgo. Let's move to Moon and Pisces.
Okay, yes.
Whoa. Okay, this is very intense. Okay. Okay, so I got for Moon and Pisces people the devil.
Oh,
Okay,
wow. Okay.
so I'm feeling that this is telling me that you need to let go of addictive, destructive behaviors that have a history. They're not something you did last week. They're patterns that have just kind of sedimented over time, you know? And I feel okay. These addictions, whether they are to kind of, whether they're addictions to let's say, unhealthy food, unhealthy lifestyles, unhealthy relationships, or addictions to drugs or alcohol, right? Or whether they're kind of transgressions against others in the form of abuse. Um, you're you've been you've been feeling that. I mean, there's a certain kind of attraction and that kind of power. Like there is a power here in this card, right? And what makes it difficult for you to move away from these destructive patterns or addictions is that they give you a sense of power. Okay, so you need to accept that this sense of power you're getting from these addictive behaviors or destructive patterns, whether they're against yourself or others. And ultimately, it is going to be against yourself because harming others is never in your own interest. You need to really wake up and understand that this glamour of power is deceptive. It's a deception, right? And maybe because your moon is in Pisces, it's easy. Maybe it's easy to kind of deceive yourself into kind of thinking that the reality is what you're feeling, right? The darkness that's coming across here is pretty intense, and it's it's something between emotional and spiritual. So if you're planning to do moon work, whatever is occupying your mind, okay, whatever you want to manifest, you need to make sure that you're manifesting it with a really level-headed kind of down-to-earth, a level-headed, down-to-earth perception of reality, as opposed to this fantasy space where you want to be, you know, you have more power than you feel you already do have, you know? Yeah, so any way you're wronging yourself, right, and any way you're wronging others, you need to stop that now. It is not empowering you in the way that you feel/think, right? You know, when you get addicted, it's like it's a compulsion. It's like it's not rational real behavior. It's behavior you might rationalize to yourself very well, but in the end, it is compulsion. So yeah, dig deep into yourself and be honest with yourself and let go of destructive behaviors and patterns. Yeah, that's the message I have.
Amazing. Fantastic. Wow. On that dramatic note, I wish everybody a kind of a beneficial full moon in Pisces.
Yeah.
And whether it's, you know, whether it's because you're exercising gratitude for realizing what you do have and what is important to you, or whether it's that you're recognizing that you have got that something actually is unhealthy, it is addictive, you know, whatever end of the spectrum it is. The full moon in Pisces is a deep and meaningful full moon, and I think a lot of like positivity could come from it for anybody that kind of, you know, gives it a little bit of time to make some sort of, I don't know, some changes or new attitudes towards things.
Right. Yes. That I hope the messages will be helpful. And
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, and I feel like it's a, well, there's a synchronicitous kind of matching between what I got for the moon in Pisces and what you got for what you should release, right?
Yes,
Because I'm feeling like,
definitely.
you know, letting go of addictions and letting go of experiences that no longer serve you, you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, thank you, Harley.
thank
And
you.
we will be back
Mm.
in a few days.
Yes.
Yes, so check the schedule on the Pomegranate Grove website. And we've got a fantastic festival coming up as well. It's all on there. But we will be back in a few days with some more Astro Tarot readings. So bye for now.
Bye. Take care. Bye bye.